Hey, this is Jim with XD45 Actual coming at you with a new series on basic gun myths and gun handling. I'd like to talk to you about a little Jeff Cooper rules, the 4 basic handgun rules that were actually invented by Jeff Cooper. And if you don't know who he is, I suggest you look him up, especially godfather, if you will, on gun safety and gun handling and combat tactics. These rules were meant to be used at the range as well as in a combat situation. So it's important that if you're a gun person to know these rules inside and out, and I've heard all kinds of stuff all over the web disputing or adding or subtracting the validity of some of these rules. If you look at the news recently, you'll see just in Florida alone last week a guy shot his buddy while he was cleaning his empty gun. Everybody gets shot with empty guns. If you follow the basic premise of the Jeff Cooper rules that were set for us, this would never happen. All guns are loaded. Even when you don't think they are, you always treat them as if somebody will clear a gun, take the mag out, prove to you it's unloaded, show you the port. Treat it as it's a loaded gun. You will never ever shoot anybody if you treat it as it's a loaded gun. Basically, rule number 2 is don't point the muzzle at anything or anybody that you don't want to destroy. And this kind of works in conjunction with rule number 1. Don't point a gun at anybody, loaded or not. You're not going to destroy it. You're not going to have an accident. A bullet's not going to come out of the chamber that you didn't think was in it to begin with. Just don't do it. 3rd rule, the golden rule. The golden rule of gun handling. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. Approximately 60% of all inadvertent discharges are caused because somebody pulled the trigger when they didn't want to. Rule number 4, identify your target. Know your target and what's beyond. Don't start shooting at bumps in the night, shadows, squeaky doors, moving bushes. Don't panic. Know what you're shooting at. After we reiterate some of the gun safety rules, I want to try to delve out and give you some more techniques in actual gun use and some reviews in the future as well. I want to go back and readdress on a logical standpoint, some of the basics. Simply treating guns as if they're loaded, whether they are or they're not. Premise. No accident would occur if you treated any gun, rifle or handgun, it doesn't matter, and treat it as if it was a loaded weapon when you're showing off to your buddies, or you're whipping it around the room, or you're putting it in and out of your holster for that matter. Most of us that carry concealed weapons unload our guns and load them more than we actually shoot them. That's just the way it is. Regardless, your gun always needs to be considered loaded. Don't point the gun at something or somebody that you don't want to destroy. Don't swipe it across. You're a training crowd. If you're a trainer, hopefully you're not going to do that. You know better than that. If you're pulling it out of your holster because you just bought a new piece and you want to show your buddy, don't brush it across his face. Again, rule number 1, rule number 2, they kind of go hand in hand. Common sense and logic. People are out there, they don't even know these rules. A lot of guys, I'm guessing out there that have a gun on them right now don't know who Jeff Cooper is, which is a crying shame. You need to do some research. It's a big responsibility having a concealed weapon, or it's a big responsibility for having a gun in your house, period. So you need to be responsible and reach that level so that you're not making the rest of us look like morons. Know your target and what's beyond. It is important. A lot of people are getting, they're shooting their college-age kids that are coming home with half a drunk on. There was a flash, there was a door, there was a shadow, and boom, boom, boom. You need to know your target. Don't just go pulling the trigger crazy. Another one of my favorite rules actually is to keep your finger off the trigger until your target's in sight. Basically what this means is keep your finger off the trigger when it comes out of your holster, wherever it is on your bench, until you have sight acquisition. Your target is in sight. The basis for keeping your finger off the trigger could be environmental. In other words, if you're in a low ready position and you're coming up on a target, you don't necessarily have to have your finger on the trigger unless you're sighting the target. If you're going up a set of stairs, for example, your position might be slightly different than if you're going down a set of steps. But if you adhere to the rule, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to pull it. Once again, these all were thought out in a logical, common sense format. They all mesh together. Use them. These are the premises for future gun use, future videos that I plan on making. But these things have to get beat into you. I've heard a lot of stuff on YouTube disputing this or adding this. It's simple. there would be no accidental discharge, there would be no accidental deaths, there would be no accidental shootings, there would be no I shot myself while I was cleaning my empty gun incidents if every one of these rules was used and applied to. And they're just as easy to use in a combat situation as they are at the range. And that's what they're designed for. They're universal. I'd rather see, if anybody wants to do anything as far as mutilating the rules, add to them if you want. Don't subtract. Those are the 4 basics you must adhere to. As far as the administration portion of this video, for me it's the first production channel. Very difficult to sit in front of a camera, very difficult to rant about a topic regardless of whether you're in love with it or not. I give a lot of credit to guys out there with successful gun channels especially, or any channel. It's not an easy thing. There's a lot of production that goes into it if you want it to look decent. I'm not here to bang anybody. I'm not here to put anybody down. I'm here to give you a format for logical gun handling and training from here on. I will, however, be pointing out wacky things that I'm seeing, dangerous things that I'm seeing as far as the gun world goes. There's a lot of people out there who call themselves ex-military or ex this or ex that. I don't believe in ex anything. Those types of trainings don't necessarily have anything to do with the civilian world. So what I plan on presenting to you is a combination of military, prior service, prior law enforcement, years and years of concealed weapon civilian carry. And again, we're going to be using the word logic throughout the series. Thanks. I'm not really sure how all the commenting stuff works, but I'm sure I'm going to leave it open for comment. I'd like to get this going. I'd like to see it take off. And please, if there's anything you want to discuss or comment, it doesn't matter. Full disclosure, you have full First Amendment rights in this channel. If you want to blast me, blast me. I don't want to make this, the whole series isn't going to be boring like this. It's not going to be me talking or ranting necessarily. I'm sure there'll be some political insertions. Feel free to leave your comments and some suggestions and ideas for the future. And sorry this isn't going to be a short one. It's my first. I'm getting comfortable with the situation and the production levels, and actually getting comfortable looking directly into a camera and talking to nobody, essentially. And as the immortal Jeff Cooper said, one thing you gotta have when you're in a gunfight is a gun.